Go.
Tell me what you remember.
I hated the theater we watched it on. Also,
A wife?
like the theater room, like the screen definitely was not optimized.
A son?
And then what?
The son.
We won the war. Help me go home.
That's half the movie. Him being like, "Let's go!" That's so funny. The Cyclops scene was hilarious to me, like a whole lot of the way. Well, let me find a good still frame. All right, fine. Okay, Jacob, as the resident Homer affiliate, what do you think of the Odyssey?
It's a very cool movie. It's very long and it feels very long, and I'm like, man, if you don't like the Odyssey, you're not gonna enjoy the movie. It's very long. But if you do like the Odyssey, you're like, I don't begrudge this thing for being so long because it's the Odyssey.
Well, I don't particularly love the Odyssey, so I thought I did a good job of making it. I didn't feel it was that long until, like, after he got home. I was kind of just like, okay, now let's do the test, and then the end. And it kept going. However, there were a couple little nuggets in the last hour that did, pull some of the things together for me, so I appreciate that much, I guess. So, yeah. What'd you think of the American accents? I want to get that out the way.
This is what I want from, I don't even know what to call it, fantasy, mythological, I don't know, pseudo-historical thing. This is what I want. I want people to speak in American accents.
Interesting. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. It definitely took me a minute to adjust. Well, mainly because, Tom Holland, because he's British. And there are a couple other actors, I think, that were British that they put on American accents. Not that many others, but a couple others. And that was kind of crazy. Also, the, I talked about also, when we walked out the theater, how the American accents make it seem like their ignorance is, doubled in a sense. I agree with this so much more the more I think about it. Like, the part in the Cyclops, just... Not only is he just sort of walking into somebody's house being like, oh, their cheese is good. Oh, we'll apologize when they get home. We'll explain ourselves or all this jazz after the fact. I'm like, that's so American. And then, things get effed up, and it's also kind of equally shocking. They're like, dang, they really didn't know. And it's like, oh my god. And I like the Cyclops' face, too. It kind of looked like he was more like a deformed baby than that grew up or whatever. Than had one eye. It looked more like his face was sideways. The top half. That was cool. Everything with the Cyclops is cool. I thought that was a little early though. Didn't you think it was felt early?
No. I was trying to remember what happens first because there's so many things happening in Odyssey that I never remember the order of them. I figure that just happens early.
What'd you think? What'd you think of Tom Holland? I think I like Tom Holland in this more than usual. Oh, he's pretty good. That's Telemachus.
Basically, the only thing I've ever seen him in besides Spider-Man.
Spider-Man. That is true too. So I can't even say this is better than usual. I like the whole Law of Zeus thing or whatever, or Zeus's Law, because it does come back around by the end in an interesting way. Because this is not spoil.
It's what the whole movie's about, basically.
Yeah, it is what the whole movie's about. And I kind of like how Zendaya's character as Athena is it's more of a specter in his head than actually Athena, I think.
Yeah.
And basically when he did the Trojan horse thing and he was witnessing the carnage, and then he saw someone else like cutting off the head of Athena off of the statue as a villager was like a woman that is Zendaya was being killed, and that's basically what he attributes to Athena. And then the whole Zeus thing being like treat others as if they are gods in case they were ones in disguise or whatever. It's like that just rang true to him in his head so hard in that moment. And that is what pulled the last hour for me a little better. I was like, okay, fine. That's usually what happens with these 3-hour Christopher Nolan movies. Like, the last hour is usually I'm like, my butt hurts. But then I'm also like, oh, story, you're getting me.
My butt didn't hurt. The chair was very comfortable, but I didn't.
The chair,
I was
no, my
tired.
butt didn't hurt this time. I was more thinking about Oppenheimer, where, like, after the first 2 hours and then the bomb happens, I'm like, okay, cool. My body was like, you've seen enough, leave. Like, my butt was numb as fudge. But then the last hour is probably the most, like, dramatically interesting. So I was like, well, the last hour is like I know the last hour is my favorite hour because my butt hurt so much in that hour, and yet I wanted to, like, pay attention still. So, yeah. And my butt wasn't hurting this time, but I was feeling the length around the third hour, but then tied together by the end. I was like, okay, I like it. I do have a complaint about John Bernthal. He's just a Punisher. He's just a Punisher again.
I did feel like he was just a Punisher, yeah.
And that was a little lame. Like, he was, like, I don't even know if he said, let me tell you something. But it felt like he was about to say, let me tell you something, Telemachus. Let me tell you something about your daddy. Something like that.
He's not playing a different character at all. He's not at all different from his Punisher acting.
It's like, of all these, like, Tom Holland's doing an American accent, and and you can tell he's done multiple, like, his Spider-Man American accent was different from this American accent. What the heck, Bernthal? Even if he was like, alright, I'm gonna channel some Walking Dead and make this thick Georgian accent for no good goddamn reason. At least do something like that. You're just doing the Punisher again. So yeah, I was a little annoyed with that. One fun fact about the Silver Giant things, the Silver Giant guys, they filmed that by putting small Asian women in the Odysseus' crew's armor, and then they just got like the biggest size guys they could get and put a bunch of big armor on them, and so they made Odysseus' crew look even smaller in comparison by doing that, which is cool. They did a lot of cool camera tricks. I was surprised about how practical the Cyclops was, because he was like sticking out, like when he was like chasing them out and he was like halfway out the water, I was like, that is way more real than it should be. Yeah, I was surprised. When they did the Maelstrom thing though, and that rock monster thing, what was that rock monster thing?
Scylla.
The what?
Scylla. I'm eating nuggets.
Oh yeah, Scylla. And so yeah, I forgot about the whole part where it's like, what, 6 people have to die on the ship?
Yeah.
Something like that. I was not counting. I just noticed, like, man, that monster took a very particular number.
I've got a whole list of things to talk about, vaguely in order of the movie. So I'll just go down that.
Fine, then I'll follow you then. God dang it.
Alright. Right at the start of the movie, when they're showing Elliot Page character, I think the name is like pronounced Sinon. I don't remember how it's spelled at all. Was it like Sanon, Sinon? I don't know.
Simon?
At the start there's a shot where you see a lot of sea foam from the waves hitting the beach, and you hear the hooves of horses, which I like that because in ancient Greek mythology, horses were created from sea foam. And probably that myth comes from the idea, like the sound of the wave hitting the beach kind of sounds like galloping horses, maybe. So that was cool. There was this idea that John, what's his last name, Leguizamo?
Mm-hmm.
He says to Telemachus while he's training, he's like, "You're attacking too fast. Let him attack you, and then you take that as an opening, you counterattack." I don't know if that makes any sense for sword fighting. The idea of like, oh, you're going too fast. I don't think speed's ever a hindrance when you're fighting, really. And the idea of like, oh, let them attack you, sure, that's okay. But mostly you would need to do that if you weren't very fast. If you are very fast, then just hit them, just kill them before they can attack you. But the point was he was setting up like the idea that Odysseus he strums his bow to let animals get a chance to run away before he hunts them, and he feels bad for tricking the Trojans in the Trojan War because he's like, you deserve not to get a sneak attack. You deserve to like see your enemy coming head on. And it's supposed to like foreshadow that. I don't remember if Odysseus was fed lotus flower on Calypso's island or not. I think he was just stuck on the island. I don't think he was. I don't think he forgot everything.
Oh, he didn't lotus up?
In the movie, he does obviously, but I don't know if there was lotus flower on that place, and I don't remember. It could be.
They definitely did a lotus flower thing in the Odyssey. Yes, I don't know if he himself ate any. I know the crew definitely.
Right.
Did.
His men probably did, but if his men did, then it definitely didn't go down the way it did in the movie because his men are already dead by the point he gets it in the movie.
Well, I think it was a good opportunity to use that moment as a structuring mechanic. Be like, okay, he's forgotten everything. And as he's remembering,
it's a framing device for the movie.
Yeah,
I think the Odyssey, at least when I originally read it in middle school, so it's been a very, very long time. When I originally read it, I read it before it was assigned. I believe, like when he finally makes it back from Calypso's island, he's in some other person's kingdom, and he ends up telling his story there, and that's the framing device for the Odyssey typically. So they're using a different one here, having it be Calypso, I believe. When we get to see the whole Trojan horse thing, and they get like the Troy soldiers start stabbing into the horse, and then they stab one of the guys, I was like, wouldn't there be blood on the sword?
Well, it was like a wooden horse. I think by the time it was out the other end of the wood,
I mean, maybe it gets scraped off, but it's blood. Like, there's no blood on the sword. Like, you pull the sword out, you're like, now, hold on.
Also, he's wearing clothes.
That still... See, I would accept it more if you actively watch them wipe it as it gets pulled out.
I guess. I don't know. I don't know. I wasn't bothered by that. I think it was smart that they stabbed it to try to make sure. Yeah, I hate that. I kind of feel bad that they thought as much as to stab it. To make sure there's nobody in there. And they still got God. That kind of sucks.
I think it probably would have been more believable if they didn't stab it. Because at that point, they should have figured out there were people in there. You could see in the holes that you just stabbed into it. You would see people because there's a bunch of people in there. The smell would come out of the holes because there are dead bodies in there because they said some of them drowned.
Usually when we see the Trojan horse thing done, it's usually like, yeah, you could definitely fit a bunch of people in that horse. This one was at least like, if there's people in that horse, they would be extremely uncomfortable. And it was. But I do like that. Like, it did look smaller enough to be like, can people be in there? And could enough people be in there to make enough of a difference? I guess so. I kind of wish I could rewatch the end of Troy and then roll into this, literally. I think a lot of people are probably going to do that. And just from that perspective.
The movie feels like a part two. I wish we could see the Trojan War now.
I don't know. He ain't going to make that. He's going to take a break. I don't know. He ain't going to go back and do that. He might. I doubt it, though. But yeah, I kind of like...
The Cyclops scream was outrageously loud.
Dude, yeah, in our theater, the speakers were hanging on for dear life trying to play this effing movie. Like, they were rattling and crackling. And yeah, the Cyclops scream, that was like... I thought the crackles were on purpose in the movie. I'm like, oh no. It's just that loud and the speakers can't handle it. I loved it, though. You think that was loud?
They must have heard that in every theater across, like every theater around ours must have heard that.
Probably. It was quite loud. It's like, whoa! It was like, you can't even. It's like, pretty darn loud. Also, the pig scene. dude, the scene where they ate, or I don't know. You have more notes before I go to that.
The Cyclops and Cersei turning them into pigs are both done as horror, which is good and cool.
Yeah, I thought the pig one was done even better than I thought the Cyclops one. I was like, okay, Christopher Nolan, you're getting some sauce. And then the pig one, I'm like, Nolan's learning for real. Like that felt like actual horror. The scene when they're like turning into pigs and it's like I loved how it was done. Because any other thing, they'd be like, poof, you're a pig, or even at first when they were like growing hair out of their ear, kind of like Pinocchio style, like donkeys growing. She was physically manipulating their bodies to become pigs, like pulling out their snouts, like pushing their face,
shoving her arm down their mouths.
Oh my god, that was so gross. And the stuff they were eating did not look good at all either. They were just hungry. Man, dude. I kind of like the part when they're kind of do like, he's like, "Is this a mutiny?" And they're like, "That depends on you," or whatever.
Yeah, I'm not sure that happened either in the Odyssey. Because like, first of all, why? Why would they even? They're like, "Oh, we're gonna separate from you now." It's okay. Why? Yeah,
Also,
if you want, you could say, "Hey, you're not the captain anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I want us to be captain, but you could still like row the boat. We need rowers."
I think they just were like, "You're a bad luck charm. You stay here."
Oh, right. No, that's fair. That is fair. That is what he is. They're like, no, you mess with the Cyclops, and now Poseidon's on us. And they said, how are we going to get home if Poseidon's against us? And that is like the thing in the Odyssey is that Poseidon is like, F you, Odysseus.
Yeah, F you specifically. And also, like, I will say, when he shot the and I guess that's why, I don't know if the Cyclops in the original story is one of the first things that happens, but I guess it is why it would be a good idea to make that, like...
I'm pretty sure it is. I'm pretty sure it is one of the first, yeah.
So it's like an early motivator for Poseidon or whatever. But he does, like, that shot with the arrow, like, everything else, I would say, is justified. You're trying to get out. Everything is fine.
Yeah, it kind of didn't make sense.
Like, shooting him in the face with an arrow again as you're leaving because you're, like, offended by your guys that are dead? Nah.
And then more guys get killed because of it, but also, what's the point? Like, you stab him in the eye with a spear, what's the arrow going to do that the spear didn't do already? I don't think there's not really a point for Odysseus to do that. I feel like that's kind of just something they added to it, because, like, in what he's supposed to do in the story is he mocks Polyphemus as they escape. Like, he talks to him, and Polyphemus is like, "Who's there?" And he says, "I'm nobody. My name is Nobody."
Oh, yeah!
And then Polyphemus is yelling for help from the other Cyclops, but he's saying, "Help! Nobody's hurting me. Nobody's here. Nobody's getting away." And they're like, "Okay, well, that sounds fine, Polyphemus. All right, goodbye." And then Polyphemus curses Odysseus. He calls Nobody. It's like, "Curse you, Nobody. Have my father Poseidon curse you," and that's it. But they didn't want to have any of that conversation, I guess. I mean, they kind of joke away even the idea of having a conversation with him. Like, he's fully capable of speaking to people. They have.
Yeah, I guess they did make a joke to sort of joke it away.
They
like,
joke it off.
Now.
It's too late for that. Yeah, we're past that point. And then I think them shooting him in the face. It's just their his change to keep the curse in there, because he's like, well, what else did he do to this guy?
Yeah, that's probably that's his one petty move, I guess.
Yeah.
Because before that, and literally, he chased him out. I don't think he would have chased him out if he didn't shoot him in the eye one more time, or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Also, while the Cersei pig thing is probably the creepier bit, I think the Cyclops bit is the most tense bit in the whole movie.
Yeah, it's probably more tense. Yeah, because you're like, and it is if every version of the Odyssey I've ever seen, except for O Brother Where Art Thou, I think that's the Cyclops part is the weakest part in O Brother. But in every other version, even sucky TV versions, just seeing the Cyclops chomp down on one of the guys is pretty iconic and terrifying. And you just hear their screams as he's chomping down. It's like, oh my god. And then they're just trying to get out and trying to figure out how they're gonna get out. But they deserve it, though. I like this time. I was way more sympathetic towards the Cyclops. I was like, they deserve it. They walked up in his house, ate his cheese, were trying to eat his goats, and that's so effed up, man.
Well, they're guests, so they can have some food.
Yeah, they were self-titled guests as they were coming in.
Yeah, but they are
Self-proclaimed
guests. So yeah, they should get a little bit of food.
What they should have done.
In the eye, though.
They should have just like I don't know like the Cyclops probably more than likely will just try eating them from the get probably, but they should have maybe tried to talk to him and they probably could have taken him in a fight. Maybe.
I love that because Odysseus' whole thing is supposed to be they smart. You know, obviously that's him coming up with the Trojan horse. He's a smart guy. I love the scene where they're about to attack Polyphemus while he's asleep. Like the guy's about to cut him in the throat, and then at the last second, Odysseus like stops him and he goes, "The Rock." And the guy goes, "Oh yeah, the Rock. If we kill him, we're gonna die in here because we can't move the Rock to get out."
Mm-hmm. I forgot about that too. I wasn't even thinking about that. But also, it's a testament to how tense it was because you were bracing for a jump scare. Even I saw you were bracing for a jump scare in that moment, and then he was like, "No, stop." And I was like, "Why? Why stop? You got him dead to rights." And then he said, "The Rock." I'm like, "Oh yeah, they can't get out. How are they gonna get out?" Yeah, it's interesting, yeah. But also, so what if they don't get out? They probably could have found some way out. They could have ate on the sheep, ate on the Cyclops, and found a way out eventually. Ate on the cheese. They would have had plenty of time to figure it out, I think. Anne Hathaway, how did you think about her in the movie as Penelope, I guess? Yeah. And the Helen thing... Also, with Lupita Nyong'o, people were, I'm not even going to address all the stupid non-scandals, because I don't think they ever meant anything. In fact, they kill pretty much most people of color in this movie. It's pretty effed up to me, but whatever. But, I don't really understand the whole, why did they do the whole, she had a twin sister. Was that a thing in the books? Or in the book?
I don't know if they were twins, but, Clytemnestra is... she's supposed to be mentioned. Yeah.
Okay. Maybe just use
because the whole thing with Agamemnon, who was the king of the Greeks, I guess he was the one leading the charge during the Trojan War on the Greek side. He goes home and then Clytemnestra kills him. And I guess it's Helen's sister. I didn't know that, but yeah.
What you think about Agamemnon's armor was epic. And the way it,
that's all. I mean, that's all there is to him. That's all there is to the character in this movie. I thought it's kind of weird that. His characterization is a little weird in the movie. First of all, the fact that all you get is him in his armor. It's like, okay, I don't know what that's supposed to say. Odysseus has a comment he makes where he's explaining why they have to go fight the Trojan War to Penelope, and he says "Oh, Agamemnon's getting this. He's going to get control of the trade or whatever." I don't know if that's a thing in the Odyssey.
I think he probably just made that up for motivational. And also, there's even further I could go into that about people talk about Christopher Nolan being a conservative director, which is funny to think about because if you think about this movie,
I didn't need the trade embargo with the Naboo made up motivation for Agamemnon, because it's the actual start of the Trojan War, the story. I believe the way it goes, hold on. What's the short version of this? Okay, so Helen is Helen is marrying Menelaus.
Oh,
Helen is marrying Menelaus. It was I guess John Bernthal in this movie. She's marrying him. Well, no. She had a bunch of suitors, and her father was like, "Man, I feel like some of these suitors are going to get angry and kill me if they don't get to marry my daughter." And so Odysseus came up with a plan. He was like, "Hey, listen, I don't actually want to marry your daughter. I'm just here because I have to be. I want to marry Penelope. If you help me marry Penelope, I'll give you an idea to resolve the whole suitor situation peacefully." And Helen's father's like, "Okay, sure, what's your idea?" And Odysseus is like, "Here's what you do. You get every man here to swear on their honor and on their life that whoever you pick to be her husband, they will defend that union with their life to the death forever. And, any man who doesn't do it will look like a coward and a wimp. And so that's what the guy does. Then Paris from Troy comes in. He kidnaps Helen, and because every man in there swore on their life and their honor that they would defend the union of Menelaus and Helen, they have to go to war to get her back. They don't even care anymore. They wanted to marry her. They didn't get the chance, but too late. They swore on everything that they would protect that union. So now they have to go to war. And it was Odysseus' idea that they do that because he was trying to get with Penelope.
My God. So he has more, all this beyond the Trojan horse.
He technically got more involvement with why the war even happened, and that's also why I don't like the just sticking trade embargo with the Naboo idea, because it's like the actual start of the war is more interesting than that.
Right, more petty and stupid. Well, not stupid, but you know what I mean, like human relationship-y nonsense stuff. But yeah, I do like all the destruction of Troy. That's pretty effed up and cool. Kind of very.
I don't know if Odysseus ever. I don't know if he ever regretted that in the story. I don't remember.
I don't think so either. I think it's usually more of a badge of honor. Like I always love the idea of what the guy who has that badge of honor is like. Well, that badge of honor kind of makes me feel sad, or something. And also, again, back to the Zeus's Law thing of, because, for all intents and purposes, it's this moment that put him out, basically. That set him on this journey of even trying to get back home, is because of what he did here, or whatever. So it makes sense that he would be constantly recontextualizing this moment as he's trying to get back home. And, I do think it's interesting that he's more introspective about his place in the whole thing and stuff. And that makes it more cool.
I feel like Telemachus, even though he does about as much in this movie as he does in the original epic, I feel like he has a smaller role. Again, he's doing basically everything he did in the Odyssey, but it just feels like he's less important in this.
I feel maybe not the opposite. I think, he probably has less screen time, but I think his screen time is more interesting. Whereas a lot of the times in other Odyssey adaptations, like TV adaptations we might have seen or whatever, he's usually just he's hanging around a lot, saying a lot of nothing. He's literally kind of just a guy that's giving you the plot without giving you the plot. He's like, oh man, but all these suitors, and he does the same thing here. He's like, man, these effing freeloaders.
You just described what he does in this movie.
Well, I don't know. Maybe it's a testament to Tom Holland's acting that he makes it more cool. I don't know.
And then they had him, take less of a role in killing the suitors. That was supposed to be him and Odysseus just slaughtering them all. They had him do less of that, I guess, to wash his hands of it a little bit.
Yeah, I kind of wish he did a little more. Oh, because also it makes no sense that why is Odysseus, when he's the most old and most beat down, murking every single guy in that room?
I like him being a G, but Telemachus should have been helping.
I think it would have been cooler to see them team up and be Gs together.
Yes, it would have been. But I do like that he was a G. I like when he starts just going for it, you're like, God dang. And you know what? Yeah. Mother effer, I fought with Achilles. Who do you think I am? All the other heroes of the Trojan War are dead and buried. I made it home. Who do you think you're dealing with here?
I kind of like it too, because up to that point, we see him be kind of measured and we don't see him really throw a lot of hands throughout the entire movie until that moment, and then he's just going feral, stabbing people 20 times in the side with an arrow and just going ham. I kind of like that. Yeah, he's just a rat of a man going at it. Pretty cool.
On the note of Telemachus not having as big a role here, though. He, the whole point, the reason that the Agamemnon story about him coming home and being killed by his wife, the reason that matters is that he gets avenged by his son, Orestes, who kills Clytemnestra and whoever she married after Agamemnon, and maybe his brother or something, I don't remember. But yeah, Orestes is a foil to Telemachus because Orestes has settled his family drama. He did something about it, whereas Telemachus is just sitting in it and he's not doing anything, and so it makes him feel worse because he has not acted, and he has Orestes to look at as like an example of like, yeah, no, I did something about it.
Is Orestes in this movie?
He gets mentioned one time, I believe.
Interesting. So tell me about Robert Pattinson's character, if you can.
I don't remember him from the original. I don't remember him at all.
I feel like he's basically kind of just the voice of all the suitors in essence.
Yes, and maybe there was one. Maybe it was him. I don't know. I just can't remember. But yeah, he's just the voice of the suitors.
I do like how just like carelessly jerkish he is in this movie.
Yeah, I thought he was kind of funny. Like he was very like thoughtlessly jerky. It was like, okay. It was funny. Like when he was like, "Can we get these beggars out of here? Come on." Like, okay.
Yeah. And then his friend, which again, why is the black friend being mean to the dogs? Just so he, like, why can't it be like a white guy being mean to the dogs?
I like that scene when Odysseus shows up. That's when Telemachus figures it out. Odysseus shows up, and he had said earlier in the movie that the dog was waiting for the return of his master. And then as soon as Odysseus puts a hand on the dog dies. Because that's it. That's all he was waiting for, which is to see his master again. And he saw him. And that's how Telemachus goes, "You're Odysseus. You're my dad." Because he's like, yeah, the dog died after you touched it. That's because he recognizes you as his master.
That was so sad. Aww.
No, but it's the good ending to that stupid Futurama Seymour thing.
Yeah, I guess. So sad.
He lives long enough to actually see him come back. It's good. A good ending.
I guess. But yeah, all the dog stuff was effed up in the movie. John Leguizamo threw a puppy off the cliff like it was nothing, and then Odysseus was like, maybe I can keep this dog. It's like a farming dog or something. I don't know, just don't throw it off the cliff. Pretty much, which is cool. I've heard people describe this as like I don't know. Like, Odysseus is kind of like... Do you know who Grant Plattner is?
No.
He's a Georgia senator person, or he's running for it, or whatever. And he's like a guy who used to fight in Iraq, or whatever, and then he's like fighting hardcore to be like a liberal leftist sort of like, I don't know, political figure, whatever. And I've heard criticism on that guy because it's like, not only did he go to war, but he went back, and a lot of people think, well, if you're going back, that means you kind of, like, enjoyed it, and that's kind of effed up a little bit, maybe, I don't know. Not necessarily. But I do think there's something to be said about Odysseus. He's supposed to be, like, the super clean, cool guy. He helps dogs. He's, like, nice to beggars, or, I don't know, whatever the heck. Nice to blind people. Well, John Leguizamo. Who's his slave, by the way. But whatever.
Yeah, no, I feel like they whitewashed him a little bit to make him look like more of a good guy.
Yeah, more of a good guy. Whereas it's more
like there was a point where I was like, I feel like there'd be a lot more hitting women in this if it were true to the original. I'm like he'd be hitting Penelope. Someone's gonna hit Penelope at some point. No.
Yeah, or even in I remember at the end of Troy, there's a lot of sexual violence when they were going into Troy and beating up people and killing people and
and instead it's presented as though like all the other soldiers did that when they sacked Troy, but not him.
Yeah, I'm like,
he just watched it in horror.
Yeah, and and in the movie Troy, I forget who plays Odysseus in that, but like in that movie, Odysseus was like so very much so part of the crew, very much so a warrior. Who was very chill with all the things they were doing the entire time. But yeah.
He also took out his romantic-ish, mostly sexual relationship with Circe and Calypso.
Mm-hmm.
Circe's role just got reduced a lot. Like, I feel like, first of all, I don't know if she told him about Scylla and Charybdis, or just like commented on it, but she had more to say about that. And then she immediately, like, when he got there was like, "You want to have sex?" And he was like, "You just turned all my men to pigs." Yeah, I guess, sure.
Oh yeah, I do remember that. I do remember. Well, the Calypso thing I definitely remember because it was like the last temptation before he's like, no, I must leave and go to my wife. But yeah, he does sort of like take advantage of whatever lady is present when he gets the chance, I
Yeah.
guess. I do remember that, actually.
Scylla and Charybdis looked awesome. Well, Charybdis didn't. Charybdis was just a whirlpool. So Scylla looked awesome, though. Really amazing, awesome.
Yeah, I kind of wish, like, I like that we didn't see more, but but I also wish I could see more. But it was very much like, just a piece of rock. Alright, thank you, and then goodbye. Like, take it, goodbye.
It was just cool seeing those long heads just peeling back behind a mountain or a cliff face. It was like, wow. Although I was so curious about how Scylla was going to look, and then kind of ended up just looking, I don't know, normal as there is for Scylla. Like, not that different from how Percy Jackson did it. They had sort of a crabby looking thing crawling around a cliff face, and then with these long heads that kind of look like lobster claws.
Dude. Yeah. This is a good time for Greek gods. Yeah, because Percy Jackson also is coming out. And we didn't get to see Hadestown, which I'm mentioning just for people who know what Hadestown is, that was playing next door that we didn't get to see. And also, we didn't get to hear that. I wish we got to overhear that in our theater. We overheard
of all the
other
things,
theaters.
Of all the things over here, we're not getting any Hadestown.
Yeah, that would have been cool. Like, I think, and I bet if it played just right, one scene would have been like, dang, this is actually hitting a little extra because of the Hades sound on top of it or something. But yeah, I think it's so weird. Like, this is Percy Jackson season 2 really primed. Like, it gave me a lot of refreshers of things just for this.
Yeah,
Which is pretty good. I think this is gonna be playing in schools forever. No more Oh Brother Where Art Thou. No more that sucky TV version, I don't think. Unless they're trying to do like a
but it's going to take them forever to watch it.
What they'll probably do is be like, alright, today we're going to read like a chapter. Tomorrow we're going to watch 10 minutes. Today we're going to watch... And just do that. Go back and forth. Maybe.
Take a long time.
And also, they could, like, just show clips and cut bits out. But what I think is interesting about this, though, is, like, I think it was rated R. They said the F word twice. There was some blood and effed up gore kind of stuff. But, not terribly graphic. Like, I think they could play, like, the Cyclops scene, even though he's eating people, I think they could just play that at school. And it would be fine. Nobody's going to be like, that's too violent. I think it'll be okay.
I noticed the look on your face when they get to the island of the sun god's cattle, which, by the way, I feel like I remember it being Helios when I originally read the Odyssey, being Helios' island and Helios' cattle, and they said Apollo here, but I'm pretty sure in ancient Greek mythology they used to have Helios as the god of the sun, and over time they just kind of abandoned that and they just attributed all of his features to Apollo. And they also had a moon goddess whose name I can't remember, and they attributed all her features to Artemis. But like, so maybe I did read a version that said Helios, and then maybe other versions say Apollo. But anyway, when they get to that island and they're like, all right, we swear not to eat any of the cattle. We'll eat whatever else they have, fruit, whatever, or whatever. We'll bring our own food and we'll eat that. We won't eat the cattle. And you had this look on your face, and then when they start eating it, you had this look on your face. A big point of it in the story, and he spells it out in the movie. It's that it's not like they're making a mistake. They're not doing some dumb thing. They realize, oh no, it's not that if we don't eat it we live, but if we eat it we die. We either eat it and we die at sea, or we don't eat it and we starve to death on this island. We die on either way, and they choose to die on a full stomach.
Yeah, they explain that in the moment. Yeah, I don't think of it that way though.
That is it. That is it explained that way in the original. It explained that way. That is how it is explained.
I'm more like, dummies. Choose the third option.
There is no third option. There is no third option.
Also, I was like, watch, they're gonna find a tree and like it's gonna be growing cows on the tree, and they're gonna look at it and cry, like, dang it, all the fruits are cattle too, whatever. Yeah, when he said, "Well, we rather die here eating food than at the sea or whatever." Blah blah blah. I'm like,
And then you
okay.
say, yeah, rather die easy than die starving to death, because
Oh
that's
yeah,
a
yeah,
better
yeah,
death.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah, that's how it's explained in the Odyssey. It's like no, like they knew what was up. At a certain point, they realized, oh, it just doesn't matter. We don't. It's not like we get to live if we act a certain way. So we might as well eat so that we get to die with a full stomach.
I bet you if there was one guy that held out, he would have lived.
No, no, they're all fated to die. Only Odysseus gets to make it home.
That sucks. It sucks.
Also, I think so. And then so after they eat that cattle, they then get on their ship, and then there's like a big storm, and it's a bunch of chaos. I'm pretty sure maybe I'm misremembering, but I think the way the storm, like the chaos, is described in the Odyssey is they have to go back through Scylla and Charybdis, but because there's so much storm happening, the ship gets pushed into Charybdis, then to Scylla. 6 people get eaten. Back into Charybdis, back into Scylla.
Yeah,
six
back
people
and
get
forth.
eaten, and it's just going back and forth between the two horrible things until the ship gets destroyed. And it's like, God, that's awful. But here it was just there's a lot of rain and thunder, and the ship is gone, which that was disappointing.
Yeah, that is disappointing, but the level of storm did make me go, oh. So I'm like, good enough.
It was like uh-oh, but I was waiting for like a drop, and there wasn't one.
Oh. I don't know. I thought it was good enough. It was a storm. It was a stormy storm. Also, quickly, this is Batman and Spider-Man here, and then earlier, one of the suitors is Batman, trying to, get with Catwoman. I thought that was interesting. Robert Pattinson and Anne Hathaway in a scene in a Christopher Nolan movie, and he's not Batman. It's funny. Not really. Also, this is the most fantastical Christopher Nolan movie. Well, maybe I shouldn't say that. Maybe that's not true. Because now I'm thinking about, like, the black hole in Interstellar or all of Inception. But,
Yeah. No. Yeah. I mean, there's sci-fi, I guess.
yeah, but, like, there is something... This is a different flavor compared to all the other Nolans, though, I guess. In a way. It also is more brown. Like, this is probably the brownest Nolan movie. All other Nolan movies are, like, blue or gray or white. Or, I guess Batman Begins was kind of yellow. Or kind of orange. It's pretty brown. Like, at least in this room. What do you think of, I don't know. I think a lot of people were up in arms. Oh, no. People were up in arms with the racial castings or Elliot Page and all this. I do think it was hilarious that, like, Elliot Page is basically the first shot of the movie. Pretty
He dies
much.
instantly.
And dies instantly. But also, not to say that that's, I do like that Elliot Page's character is basically a through line through the movie as well. Like a ghost on Odysseus' back, on his back, basically. And a motivator behind him also. So I thought that was kind of cool, too. What else? But yeah, again, yeah. Like, so Elliot Page is there and then dies. And then all the black people die except for, like, the chorus guy.
What do
who
you
only
mean
has
all?
two scenes.
Were they suitors?
No! There's one black suitor, or maybe two. But then, like, Odysseus has, like, 3 or 4 black people on his crew, and they all effing die. Granted, all of his crew dies, but still. But they die, like, first!
Literally
I'm pretty sure
all-
the black guy dies first, though. Whatever. And also, you might not even seen him in the movie, but the son, in the Leftovers season 2, the Murphy's son, he was in this movie, and I saw him for 2 seconds. I was like, oh, that's the guy from the Leftovers, and then he dies. I was like, what the fudge? I don't even think he talked. He was there. I saw him for 2 seconds, and then he died. I'm like, did you cut his scenes? What the heck? So there's something a little weird about that for me. But I do like that they're there at all, though, because any other movie, would use this as an opportunity to be like, okay, period piece, no black people, and that would suck. So I'm glad
when
they
they
didn't do that.
when they see the Cyclops, were you expecting them to be like, "Oh my God, what is that?" Or were you expecting them to be like, "Oh boy, here comes the Cyclops"?
I think I liked how it was that they did do. I guess I kind of expected it to be more like, oh no, like people all of them being like, oh god, oh no, run. But I like it more like, oh, like it's almost like awe, like oh, and then you just see it do something like effed up about it. Like that's what I was saying, like the American ignorance of it feeling of just like the idea of like, oh yeah, this will be fine, and then the oh, you just don't know how not fine it is, basically. Yeah. Like I just like the idea of like, I don't know. I like that he just rolled up in his house thinking it was gonna be chill. Although who was gonna lift those giant bags of cheese though and have them hanging like that though? You know what I'm saying? That's a little stupid of them.
You could add a team. You could add 2 people do it together.
I guess.
It's a big cave.
Guess.
The whole family could live there.
Maybe.
I kind of feel like it would feel more realistic if they screamed and were like terrified, like, "Oh my God, what is that?" kind of thing. It would be more like realistic, but it feels more like mythology when they don't do that, and instead they just kind of react to it, like, "Oh, here's the threat." But like, even if you believe Cyclops are real, if you saw one, you would still freak the F out, especially when it looks like that scary looking mother effer. You would freak the F out. And when it starts grabbing your people and biting their heads off, like it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how familiar you are with the idea. You would be like, this is too much for me, a regular human being, to handle. But also, I had the thought of like, I wonder how many Greek myths are the creations of like ship captains just to shut up their crew who were trying to get them to land somewhere. Like, hey captain, can we land on that island and get some food? And the captain's just like, no, there's probably giants on there and they'll kill you and eat you. It's like, okay, can we land on that island over there to get some food? It's like, nah, there's probably giants on that island too and they'll kill you and eat you. It's like, yeah, okay, I guess I don't want to get killed and eaten, so I guess I'll just shut up about it now. And the captain's like, yeah, thank you.
Oh, can we talk about the siren song and how it was described?
We didn't even get to see the sirens.
Yeah, I kind of wish we got to either see them or hear the song, because like I understand like, oh, but it's so like we can't hear it, but like we're the audience, we can hear it. Don't be stupid. We can hear it. They can't hear it. How's Odysseus going to get to hear it, but we don't get to hear it? That's stupid. But I do like how you described it. It was like, not only is it like the thing you want the most, but it's the knowledge that you can't have it, and that the chances of you having it have long passed already, or something like that. I'm like, dang, that's so effed up. Ugh. Ugh. And another thing that similar that reminds me of that is I recently watched the Backrooms. They talk about the Backrooms. It's like, and they described it as like trying to describe a dog to someone who's never seen one before, and then asking them to draw it. And I thought, dang, that's a cool idea. It's like, the idea of like the perception of what it is changes based on who it is. Yeah. Neat.
A dog is just a horse with short legs and half the head, half the size. That's it.
Kinda, but they got pointy teeth instead of human teeth. Like horses have human teeth.
Just don't think about the teeth.
I don't know. Dogs have sadder eyes. And they're more front. Their eyes are more towards the front than the side in a horse.
Well, if the head was smaller, then maybe that would account for that.
Maybe. But yeah. Anything else on the Odyssey, Jacob? You got any more thoughts on this?
Nope. That's it.
I think it's pretty good. And, I think the last Christopher Nolan you and I movie... Oh, my God. Last Christopher Nolan movie you and I have seen in theaters, at that specific theater, was Dark Knight Rises. So, there you go. Not since Dark Knight Rises have we seen a Nolan movie like this before, I guess. Also, I do think... I like how... Like, Christopher Nolan's name is so big that he can populate the cast full of, like, everybody's a person, but I am kind of like... that kind of F's your expectations anytime you see someone come on screen, because you think, oh, what they about to do? And it's nothing. They're about to say a line and walk away, or they're going to say hi and then die immediately. And I guess it's kind of cool because it keeps you guessing, but it's also like, dang, dude, I kind of wanted to see them cook a little longer before you killed them. Or, like, I wanted to see them do something else, not just be there. You know, but whatever. Yeah! Odyssey, pretty good.